when I was a kid and came here, I don't think I ever would have even considered, oh yeah, you'll get a private tour and you'll be able to literally be in a private room with Kiss merchandise and stage boots from the early or the mid to late 70s. You know, it's just, these are the type of things when people ask me about accomplishments or career-related things. It's not necessarily that you don't look at your whole body of work and go, oh, that time that I did that cool thing. Whereas for me, I look at these kind of situations and go, these are the things I'm probably most, not necessarily proud of, but I just feel so fortunate for. The fact that I've gotten to a place in my career and life because of people giving me this opportunity that, wow, today I get to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and hang out with Peter Criss's boots from the Dynasty Tour. You know, that's the kind of stuff that I just have to pinch myself, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that, you know, people have put me in this position. It's not, I don't open my mouth and sing like an angel. I don't have some sort of otherworldly skill set that, you know, is unattainable. I am composite of everyone that listens to me, and I like to point out that there's nothing remarkable about me. I'm just somebody who worked hard and people gave me a chance. And so to be at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame hanging out with, you know, Alice Cooper's hat and all this stuff in a room, that's just because somebody gave me an opportunity. And I feel like anybody that watches this or sees this, I would want them to be able to take away a similar thing, that it doesn't matter what you do or who you are, if people give you a chance, that's maybe sometimes all you need. This is just so cool for me. Peter's boots, that's fantastic. You know, seeing Alice's hat, all these guitars from Warped Tour. I saw Rancid on Warped Tour 350 times, so it's awesome for me. Yeah.
That's great.
This is great. I love it. And I love cold rooms. So, you know, it's a rare opportunity to be freezing and look at things. I guess in Cleveland that's always the case, right?
Yeah, we're pretty used to it.
Just gray and cold and looking at things.
So these items here, with the exception of the top hat, are all chosen to go into this upcoming exhibit called Forever Warped, 25 Years of Vans Warped Tour. So this is a guitar from the very first year of Warped Tour, before Vans was even on board. And this was played by Tom Dumont of No Doubt.
Oh, awesome.
And that was kind of either right before or right after Tragic Kingdom. Early Warped Tour veteran, Tim Armstrong of Rancid. And he played not only with Rancid on Warped Tour, but later with Transplants with Travis Barker from Blink.
This guitar would have been hanging like right down here on his body.
Yeah. This bass, played by Ian Grushka of Newfound Glory on Warped Tour 04. And
190 pounds of pimp.
Yeah, you know, I'm not certain what that was referring to. Probably himself.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be about himself. It couldn't be an advertisement for something else.
Finally, this Pink Beauty, which is a Les Paul Vixen, which this is I think the first one we've gotten here at the museum. This was actually played by Katy Perry. She was on Warped in 2008. Gauntlets, they're worn by Jerry only.
Yes.
And we got these, I think, around the same time you were on stage with them at the AP Awards.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The Jerry Gauntlets.
These were worn by Peter Criss, the original drummer for Kiss. And this was like the first time that Kiss really introduced color into their wardrobes, which was pretty cool. And Peter got green. And we actually had this entire outfit on display when Kiss was inducted.
Yeah, probably my only like Peter outfit I really liked of all of the Peter outfits.
Well, it's very indicative of his, you know, the cat persona, but it makes me sneeze. So
the outfit does?
Yeah, it's some of it is real fur and some of it isn't, and I think the fake fur is a little allergenic. Maybe.
So in that photo shoot, and then also a commercial for the return of Kiss, where they're walking in slow motion with a bunch of dry ice around them towards the camera. They go, "The return of Kiss." I didn't have any friends growing up, so
I get it.
Just watched a lot of VHS. Seeing something and then turning it into something. You know, that's how stuff like that starts, you know. Kiss had costume designers their whole career. I never did. I had to draw this stuff, yeah. I think the obvious thing that people gravitate towards is always like the early black veil costumes. You know, a lot of the stuff that I design that is completely non-functional. Like in the Russian Divine era, I drew all the costumes out and then I had someone make them, and most of the things that I drew didn't really work as clothing. Like for one tour we did, or tried to do, these costumes where it utilized a lot of like feathers and tails and all kinds of stuff, all of which was too heavy to wear, so it would just kind of fall off. Or like, we did Download at Donington, and I had a horsetail that weighed about 15 pounds, and I had giant wings that came out about this far that would just smack me in the face every time. So like, there's a lot of stuff that those things just got put away and never used again. But a lot of times fans ask about those things. They're like, where are those things? And the one that people always ask about that people make all the time is the jacket that I designed for the In the End video and the Legion of the Black stuff, because it's one sleeve and then the other sleeve turns into a glove, which if you were to put that on, it would just pull everything down to one side because you need to have another shoulder to balance out. So it just looked like this all the time when I wore it. On the drawing, it looked awesome, but in real life, it didn't. So yeah, those are the things that, to me, if nothing else, it shows the ambition of what the band started with and what we wanted to do visually and everything. And those are the things I'm most proud of. The truth is that, by and large, all of rock history influences, I think, essentially everything that we've done. From the time I was a little kid, I was equally influenced by Meatloaf as I was Kiss, as I was Adam Ants, or any of these other artists, or Bruce Springsteen is a huge influence on me, and you wouldn't necessarily put those things together, but I think that the through line has always been just a love for music, so that influences me directly in every capacity. I enjoyed seeing the Parliament Funkadelic costumes and the David Bowie costumes just as much as anything else. So this is nobody's fault, but a lot of times because of the more rock-oriented music that we make, people would kind of gravitate more towards the hard rock stuff in there, whether it's Metallica's guitars or whatever, and that's completely awesome to me. But from the pure pageantry standpoint, looking at these crazy Parliament Funkadelic Bootsy Collins costumes for me is like just as cool. So yeah, I think that there's elements of this that influence essentially everything, and moving forward, I mean, Black Veil's a very aesthetic, kind of over-the-top band, so we'll continue to do that, I guess. I think as a kid, I didn't so much realize that there was anything about Ohio that wasn't as big as any other place. I think when you're young, you think, well, my city's probably just as big as every other city, right? And when I was 5, 6 years old, it didn't seem illogical to me that someone from the suburban area in Cincinnati would be able to become a successful rock musician. It didn't really seem, like, oh, why couldn't I do that? And then as I got older, you start to learn, oh, well, you have to be elsewhere to succeed. And ultimately, for me, I wound up moving to Los Angeles, but my heart has always remained in Ohio, and as silly as that sounds, right? I didn't mean to fall into that, but my heart is always where my home is. I feel like one of the great things has been with doing Ghost of Ohio and being able to talk about my home so much, I've been able to expose at least my experience in Southern Ohio, not necessarily up here, but my experience in Cincinnati, to people all around the world, and what that place is like, and what the city of Seven Hills is like to me.
And this is another Alice Cooper piece.
So cool.
And this is from the Nightmare Returns tour from 1986, and nicknamed the Whips and Flames jacket for obvious reasons.
Sure.
Little whips at the
That's so cool. Boy, that's really neat.